besides that, you know, you get in your head sometimes if you let up one or two, but besides that, I think you're solid all around.
Oh, by the way, real quick, and because we're running out of time, we don't want to drag this on too much, but Joe Brennan, expensive night, broke 2 hockey sticks on the net. So I'm guessing, unless he got those off the clearance rack, I mean, that's about a $250 night. So, he's a competitor. When you're the GM, you feel an extra. I think Piercy can agree with this now that he's had the experience. Like, we're all competitive just as a player status that you want to win, but when you are a GM, there's like another added layer of responsibility, and I think Brennan felt that, and it kind of boiled over, and snapped 2 sticks on the ice.
Super quick, I've seen a couple comments about bringing up the chat. Based on the software and me only being a guest to be able to stream, not essentially having full control with that account, I am not able to bring up that chat. So as much as I'd love it, I don't have that ability as of right now. But because of our time, we're already at a half hour. Let's move on to we had a second game last night. In some weird ways, it's almost the main event because we had 5 guys that are joining the league skate in that game. So, we're all excited about the 7th team joining. We got a bunch of new people, and we got a bunch of new players. So let's just do a quick little profile on each one of those guys that played last night, and then we'll probably take it home. So
sounds good.
First one, potential number 1 draft pick. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Mr. Tarzan, Matt Taylor. You were in net last night. What did you see out of him?
Matt Taylor did what he normally does. He had manned the puck, or he passed open players, or he made smart plays, or he scored goals, or he back-checked, or he pretty much did what good hockey players do. Just played good hockey. So, I mean, talent-wise, I think all the league has their own personal rankings. Talent-wise, he may be the best guy in the league next to Proctor, so they're both kind of neck and neck. Every person has their own private opinion, but yeah, Matt Taylor got 1 or 2 against me yesterday, definitely, on a couple breakaways. He's got silky hands, so I'm not going to fret giving up a goal to Matt Taylor.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good, and I felt like he was holding back. I didn't see him really skate hard. I mean, he wasn't Proctor level dogging it, but
oh my God.
I felt like he had more in the tank. I didn't see like a super explosiveness, but he did what he had to do. He produced, he set people up for goals. He scored a couple goals. I like what I saw. Definite first-round pick. Probably top 2, top 3, no matter what. I could definitely see him going number 1. I'd just like to see him play a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll say that he's played in the league a couple times, but I had never had the opportunity even to see him. So I was a little surprised, like when I came out there and you see these new people. I'm like, which one's Taylor? And I wasn't expecting the bubble. I wasn't expecting the flow. So definitely was a little surprised just by the appearance. Because Chris is so like kind of straight laced, like silent assassin type. So definitely was a little thrown off there. But I agree with Piercy as well. The talent is apparent, but I do feel like there was more there, and it's just kind of drop in. You don't want to be like a jerk or anything. So it'll be interesting. He's a good player. I don't think you can go wrong with Taylor or Proctor. So he lived up to the billing. I will say, though, if you just walked into that arena not knowing who he was and you're just casually watching, you wouldn't be like, holy shit, this guy's the top player in the league, But I think that was by design. I think he was probably skating about 80% out there.
It did make me feel slightly better hearing the stories about the legend of Matt Taylor already growing so high. It was just like, where's our league going? Are we getting closer to a high-level D league, or are we trying to make it so everybody can be competitive within the league, have fun, and have a good time? Obviously, he's a really good player, but maybe it's in him to do it, but it wasn't like, oh, shit, that guy's a B-league player. We're all in trouble, and he's just going to run the league.
We'll find out. Time will tell. Who do we got next?
Next guy would be my favorite player out of the new guys, Dave Judge.
Judge, yeah. Again, never seen him play before. Had a little reputation. He's Skillman's boy out of Onyx. I think he fit the reputation to a T. Talented guy, defenseman, can move the puck, jumped in the play, can definitely be a little nonchalant. I saw, and again, It's drop-in style, so you don't know exactly what the compete level will be, but the talent is apparent. Playmaking defenseman, and he looked good out there, no doubt about it. He's definitely, I think, could see him going as high as 8 or 9, and I don't. I'd be shocked if he slipped lower. I mean, if he's there in the second for Skillman, I think Skillman would scoop him up at 13. So I think he'll go somewhere in that 8 to 13 range.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with Troy to a degree as well. He could go anywhere from like that late second until I feel at lowest early fourth, late third. He's in that frame of like 10 picks or so. He's got hands. He can pass. He was able to kind of pickpocket Taylor sometimes, as well as Shawnee a couple times. The big thing I noticed with him, I mean, I know it's a drop in, and just like Matt Taylor and some other guys there, most people were in third gear, but he didn't really seem to have a next level gear kind of. So he had everything but like the speed, but maybe he's just kind of holding back. So
a little worried about the visor too. Anytime I see especially a defenseman with a visor, I'm like, oh, is he going to be soft? So I definitely have some concerns. Like when the lights come on, is he actually going to? If I draft him as my defenseman, you're going to get some offense, but is he going to compete and be a shutdown D man?
He reminded me a lot of a rich man's Marvin. He's like this kind of similar player as like Marvin, maybe just a little bit silkier hands, maybe a little bit silkier of a shot, but
I had him ranked probably just off the top of my head, mid third round to mid fourth round guy. Came into the rink last night. Goes over to him, introduces himself, says hi. He starts introducing himself. He starts talking. One of the first things he says is, "I listen to the podcast." I'm like, I love this guy already.
Oh, wow.
What a beauty. What a beauty.
Yeah.
Hey, hasn't even joined the league. He doesn't know who anybody is, but yet there's a podcast here. I'm going to give it a listen. I don't know what the heck's going on.
Hey, I didn't know that, but yeah, that's a big plus.
Yeah, our next guy on the list is a brother of everybody that we are all close to, Mr. Honey Bear, Eric Lepoudre's brother, Matt Lepoudre.
Yeah, that was I really got a kick out of Lepoudre. He is just I'm assuming he's younger. I don't know if that's true, but he's just a kind of a younger, skinnier version of his brother. He skates they have the same mannerisms. They do this little thing with this little V with their feet and this little Lepoudre push off, and they both do it. They have like the exact skating style, but just a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker, and I thought he was good. I think he'd be a nice, solid. He maybe not in that top tier D-man, but just he'd be a great second defenseman on any team. So I think that probably slots in about the 5th round would be my guess. But he was
think
good.
That's pretty fair. I mean, it'd be great. It'd be scary and great at the same time to see Eric shave, and all of a sudden he looks like he's 25 for all we know, or he could look like he's 40 when he's shaved. I don't know, but yeah, definitely he's a little bit lighter. Seemed like he had a little bit better endurance, but a very similar player to Eric. I have him ranked. He's probably close to like a Brawny, in that range. So
I think that's
similar
fair.
comparison. He maybe has a little bit better motor than a Brawny. So with a couple more skates, I see the potential of going right in that level, possibly right ahead of a Brawny.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely can move his feet. I mean, he had a couple backwards crossover, quick pump. It was good.
Yeah, our next guy on the list would be Brian Edge. He was a guy that he plays defense. He wants to play defense. I skated with him the whole time as a pairing. He seemed like a very smart player, defensive oriented, is in the right spot at most of the time. Like I said, we've never played together, but yet we had that chemistry of kind of knowing where each other would be. If one guy flips over, the other guy flips over. So to me, he seemed like a very smart hockey player who has good skills. He's probably slightly after Matt Lepoudre, but definitely a solid guy.
I don't know about that. I feel Mr. Edge is I feel like he's maybe a little better than Lepoudre, just because I saw him come down and shoot me a couple times. Now Lepoudre was playing defense in front of me last night, so I get to sit back and quarterback some more. Having Mr. Edge come down and shoot me a couple times, I feel he's kind of the opposite coin of Judge to a degree, where like he has a little bit more compete, a little bit more like skating ability, but he may not have his elite like vision, like backdoor like plays, kind of like Proctor and Judge had last night. So him and Judge, I feel, are going to probably go in the same round, within around 4 or 5 picks of each other. maybe 4 picks of each other. I feel they're both kind of the same side of the opposite coin, whereas Mr. Judge is an offensive defenseman. As they say, Brian's a defensive-oriented defenseman first, like you mentioned, Piercy, and with the ability to shoot deep from the point with a hard shot.
Yeah, there's no question that Serta is sitting here cringing. I have no doubt in my mind that Edge was under strict orders to tank it last night. Edge doesn't know anybody in the league except for Serta. Serta's trying to make him out like a 6th or 7th rounder. Oh, he hasn't skated in years. Edge rolls out in his true skates, $1,000 custom skates. He was the captain of the Notre Dame high school team, so the guy can play. I think Serta was trying to sneak him in, like they're gonna get him in like the 5th or 6th round. It's like, so that's done. So if Serta wants him, he's gonna have to draft him at value. So I think because there was a couple times he actually he rushed the puck a few times, like, whoa, where'd that come? And he's like, oh shit, Serta told me I'm not supposed to skate. And then he kind of turned it back down, but there's something there with him. So I think he's in that discussion in the 4th, 5th round type deal.
He also seemed like a good guy. He was chatty on the bench. He was chatty in the locker room. Seemed like he was trying to get to know people. So seemed like a good guy. Yeah, I think Serta sounds like he is trying to hide him. But yeah, I liked him. Be a real good defensive partner. Probably he could possibly be your number 1. You'd love him as your number 2 guy on there. But
yep.
If he's going in the 4, he's probably going to have to be your number 1 guy.
Yeah. I will say, too, similar to Judge, it's like I took a little shot at him on Slack. Not a shot. I kind of complimented him on his fancy skates. He popped right in there. So it's good. I like the guys that are fully immersing themselves in MNL and participating in Slack. So it's good.
Cue the rumors. North Stars are on the horizon with Mr. David Judge and his $1,000 skates.
That's Edge. Edge has...
Don't roll your eyes at me.
Judge has 1984 Bauer Vapors. I actually commented in the Labatt party deck. I'm like, if I draft you, do you have some room in the budget for new skates? So we'll see.
I thought the North Stars had budgets for upgrading players' equipment. Weren't you going to be buying Cunningham a new stick if you draft him?
That is definitely I did not. That was my little secret. I didn't want anybody else to know that. But if Cunningham falls to me in that 2nd round, he's definitely a player on my radar. And my first order of business would be to buy the asshole a composite stick and break his wood stick so he can score some fucking goals.
It's a big scam.
Yeah. So last player of the night. I think a lot of us actually already know the guy, Mr. AJ Powers. He's a K-Felk. A lot of times he's been filling a little bit here and there. Defenseman, very solid skater. He's got a little bit of speed. He's right in the range of these other guys. I actually think he might be a little bit below these guys. He has a little bit more offensive game than I think these guys, but I think one of his weaknesses is knowing when to take the puck up. A lot of times he'll lose that puck, or the situations that he does, he'll actually get his defensive partner into trouble, and it'll lead to goals going down at the other end.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen AJ play enough. I have a pretty good handle on where he is. This is kind of the tricky part of when you add new guys. It's like the new guys are like kind of the shiny new toy, so you kind of get excited about the new guy. Whereas a guy like AJ, his game, so you've been around him, so you kind of know his weaknesses. So it's kind of got to be careful with your evaluation not to get too enamored on the new guys. But AJ is going to be a nice player for anybody. Again, similar to these guys, if you probably don't want AJ as your number 1 defenseman, but he could serve that role. But you'd be very happy to have him as your 2nd or 3rd defenseman on the team.
Yeah, from what I saw last night, Mr. Powers was definitely a complimentary defenseman. Or to my opinion, with LePoudre, if you had two complimentary defensemen together, it's almost like you don't need a number 1 defenseman if they're both have some really good speed and can both play headman the puck. So I feel as a number 2 defenseman, he could be like a Chris Chelios kind of type, Matthew Schneider kind of type, where he walks the puck across the blue line in the power plays, gets a shot in, can pass to the offensive Proctor and let Proctor do his thing or something, or hit right back door, or hit Hal back door or something when he's got a stick down. So I kind of like seeing him as maybe a 2nd complimentary defenseman overall on your team. That'd be great.
AJ's also one of those heart attack guys where he likes to show up about 5 minutes before game time. So you're like, is he going to show up? Is he not? I'm not 100% sure. And he's It's actually he had a little bit of a run of no call, no show, like falling asleep. He's the last 2 years or so he's been money, but you always had in the back of your head, what's he gonna do? But he is overall reliable, but you never like those guys. Kind of like Hedis, is he gonna make it on the ice on time?
Yeah.
I mean, I make it on the ice on time every time, baby. You don't
I,
worry about
I
me.
will say that
Friday?
I will say that AJ is also like he's got a little compete / mean streak to him that you don't really expect. But I've seen him like kick it up a notch, and this is kind of in like the Friday Night League, and Troy's subbed a couple times. Like, oh shit, this guy's got a little gumption to him. So underrated, feisty guy. So Powers is high on the North Stars board.
Yeah, gotta love him. So we're getting close to wrapping this up. Any guy